Autistic person, I've been a strong advocate against people who are mean to other people who are considered different, such as those with autism. Many people in the autism community, including me personally, hate seeing people bully others who are different, such as people who laugh, make fun, or be ableistic towards other people who are just simply different. Yes, our autism traits may be considered different compared to what other people do in society. For example, we may STEM in order to regulate, or we may have special interests that might be considered unusual. But that's okay. This isn't something that should be considered bad. It doesn't harm anybody. It's not offensive. It's objectively not better or worse than traits that other people possess. So why should this be considered bad, inappropriate, or something that we need to change? And I feel like it should be accepted in the same way as race, gender, sexual orientation, and culture. And I feel like if people are mean to people because of their autism traits simply being different, I find it's actually really an act of discrimination. Now, I've talked about this a lot when it comes to people being outright mean and this sort of thing. And I talked about how this can be hurtful and damaging in the form that it can even cause trauma. And I focused on one aspect, and that is how people do it by being mean, joking, mocking, or even making fun of, or actively withholding opportunities. However, what I haven't yet mentioned that I do want to mention now is that the same effect can happen in the opposite extreme. And that is when people are overly nice to autistic people. Sometimes I find people will treat autistic people overly nice, and I find that can be just as hurtful and damaging. For example, I personally know people who deliberately treat me different compared to others in the form of acting extra nice. They may exaggerate their voice to make themselves sound nice when they talk to me, and I always pick up on that immediately. And they may even act like they agree with things that I say when they really don't, just to sound nice, because they think they're being accommodating, which in reality they're really not. And this can be equally as hurtful as someone just being outright mean. If you know someone with autism and you do that, I do appreciate the fact that you're trying to be nice, but cut it out. Just treat us like how you would treat anyone else. If you're deliberately trying to act overly nice, we do notice. Yes, we may struggle with reading body language or nonverbal cues sometimes, but this doesn't mean we don't notice. If you met someone who is Chinese, would you be overly nice to that person because they're Asian? Or for African American, would you treat them super nice because they're African American? No, that's silly. Are you going to talk to someone who has a different sexual orientation way different because they simply have a different sexual orientation? Well, the same thing applies to those with autism, and how we're unique in our own ways. Yes, people with autism may struggle with certain things, and we need to be compensated with certain things, like how a person with a wheelchair may need ramps when they access a building. But being mindful of where a person struggles and helping them out when they need it is different than just simply treating someone outright different, such as treating someone overly nice because of it. Because all of us will notice it, and it does come across as fake.